think, took out of, you know, a lot of people basically modeled Milton Erickson, right? Trying to figure out what did he do, how did he do it, and so what Brent shared is that when you look at the trance phenomena, you can pay attention to how to evaluate what the person needs. So right now it's just going to be words. They'll get some experience and then it will be in an understanding. So we'll start off with just, you know, taking it part apart. So age regression, age progression. You see how there's two columns here? If you're looking at page 8. And so what we're looking at are complements. So that each trance phenomena has a complement to it. And let's first start with the best of what you would do for age regression. The best of age regression is that it accesses past potentials. Okay? Accesses past potentials. So in our NLP training, we talk about reclaimed personal history. Right? We've talked about resources. We've talked yesterday about those wonderful games that you played. Those times when you had your own kind of world, right? So that's the best of age regression. Maybe you'll come up with something else.
The first thing you said,
accessing past potential. This is where the early learning set comes up, right? Finding when you had to work on something and practice and learn and get the experience of achievement. Age progression is not particularly a trance phenomena, but it pairs very well with age regression, right? One is taking you back, and one is taking you forward. Age progression is the future ideal self. Age progression is really allowing you to create how I want to be. Now, in conversation with people, when you're starting to talk to people, and it can be just in your casual friendships, right? You could start to hear the trance phenomena. So let's just stick with age regression and age progression, okay? And on page 9, you'll see some examples. So age regression, somebody's saying to you, I'm feeling like every time I go visit my family, I feel like a kid again. Does that happen to anybody? You go to either a relative's house, that is a house that you visited when you were younger, or does anybody still have the family house, the house you grew up in? Anybody? A couple of you? I happen to still, amazingly, my mom is still in the house since 1955. Right? That's a long time to be in the same house. Right? So it's been work, over 30 years of work, I'd say. When I finally walk in, I'm going to say my age. I'm going to say my age. I'm going to say my age. I always in an age regression when I go home. Right? I just kind of keep on getting myself back to reminding myself I'm a woman. Unable to let go. Sometimes the idea, do you ever have friends who say, that person said that to me, and I'm not going to forgive them, and all of a sudden you say, like a grudge holder kind of thing, and we're like, is that kind of childish? Kind of has like a childish overtone to it. They say they're in some state of age regression, right? Now, if a kid is doing it, it's appropriate, like they're in their age, right? Some kind of childlike behavior. Give me that. I want that. Right? That's not fair. Like that kind of language. So you would assess, you'd say, this person's kind of doing age regression. The complement, age progression, is, unfortunately, it's showing up in sort of the not positive, would be if somebody's very anxious. They're worrying about the future, right? They're going into the future. Now, by the way, just remember with language patterns, we had presuppositions, but we had nominalizations in the same sentence. It's going to happen here. You're going to see anxiety and worry showing up in a couple of trance phenomena, all right? But if somebody's saying to you, I don't know, what's my career going to be like in the future? How am I going to be in the future? How am I showing up? Putting themselves out into the future. So you know, okay, they're dealing with their self in the future. Sounds very obvious, right? But when you're helping them in their trance state, remember this is your goal, to see your induction and utilization. Let's say it's the age regression one, and they're really, it's not fair, and why can't they, see my point of view? You may want to complement it by helping them grow up, right? You might want to help them experience what was it like to start learning sometimes when we had a share, right? Or a story about somebody who finally learned that they didn't always get what they wanted, but they actually experienced being happier because there were people who were there. Because when you act like a kid, sometimes you can push people away, right? So you create age progression. Or you could stay in age regression but help them find the skills that they needed, right? So with trance phenomena, you have a choice. You can, let's say with age regression, or age progression, you can either say, I'm going to go to the complement to help this person. I'm going to move them this way. Or I'm going to use where they are, but I'm going to make it work for them. Okay? So it's usually, you can play with, usually what will happen is there will be two trance phenomena. It's not, it's surely not this kind of like fixed, we don't have the formula, oh, it's only one, right? But you start to say, okay, so this person, they're coming in to me, or they're talking to me, they're my friend, they're in their 30s, but they're kind of acting like they're 10 years old. And they're whining, and they're complaining in a way that doesn't seem adult. And I might want to just remind them about what are some of the adult things that they do. What do you like about being an adult? What's the best thing about being your age? Right? Let's really get into being who we are, who our age is. Right? That would be going age progression. Or, well, you're right. There are a lot of things to complain about. There are a lot of things that are unfair about. What do you remember when you were a kid? How did you manage that? How did you deal with that? What were the ways that you learned about that? Right? So you can go that way. That would be like conversational hypnosis, so to speak. But you could also do that more in a formal trance. Any questions about age regression and age progression?
The last thing you said, how did you say in age regression?
You could go back to the past and say, so you could say to your client or a friend, so how did you deal with certain situations in the past? What resources do you think you could have used at that time? Yeah. What resources did you have? Right? Let's really find a way for you to express to that younger self what she needed at that time. So many different ways of helping somebody. And then also knowing that you're helping them grow up, so to speak. And it's not enough. I mean, it could be maybe our delicate quotes to say, I heard somebody once just say to somebody, grow up. Right? And, what are we talking about? Peter Pan syndrome sometimes, right? People who just say they don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow up. And by the way, this is a very personal one for me. I think because I was the youngest of four, and I got to be called the baby. Yeah. Because you just have to be called the baby, you're the youngest, right? And then you're in your 50s and you're still like the baby. And it's like, let's see if I can let go of that identity. Can't really completely because it's the family history, but, it's, you can really, are you the youngest?
I'm the youngest of seven, and my oldest sister was like the very responsible one, and almost like the second mother, She still treats me like I'm 12, even though she's like 50-something and I'm going to be 40. It's like, it's just something